meeting of Central Florida Facilitators, Toastmasters Club 9958 to order. Thank you all for being here tonight. If you have phones or other electronic devices that make noise, please put them on silent mode now. The women's restrooms are located down the second hall on the right, that way, near where you came in, and the men's restroom down the hall, this way to the right. At Toastmasters, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Through this mission, each Toastmaster gains a clear understanding of the club's purpose, and the organization as a whole benefits from a shared set of values and goals. Please help me welcome our thought and pledge leader for this evening, Mickey Dumitrescu.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so excited for tonight's contest. But we're going to start with a thought and pledge as usual. And I'm going to share with you a thought, not mine because it would be boring, but a thought of Howard Cosell, sports journalist and broadcaster. The ultimate victory of competition is derived from the inner satisfaction of knowing that you have done your best and that you have gotten the most out of what you had to give. Thank you. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Every time someone says that, I am so excited, it is so wonderful, you're all great, I think that is a little bit exaggerated. But when you are involved in organizing a contest or even a meeting, you have that feeling. You are very, very excited with people in attendance, with participants in the contest, and with the thought of more meetings and more enjoyable events. Now, we have a lot of guests here, and I'm not going to name them all because it's going to take a long time, but thank you so much for coming. I am going only to acknowledge our area governor, our Area 42 governor, Paul Detlef. He's going to hand out the trophies at the end, and this would be an honor for us. Thank you again. Michelle Detlef, past area governor, is here. Now, you know I am not very good with selling stuff. I don't have the skills. And who attended our auction in spring knows that very well. But I am very motivated tonight because the money that we get for 50-50 are going to go towards our banquet budget in 6 months from now. And because, as I said, I don't have the right skills, I'm hoping that Alexandra is going to help me with selling tickets. You don't have to do anything now. I'm going to give you the tickets later, and you'll have to sell them.
And the other 50% goes to?
The winner. No, let's keep all.
It's like we're going to keep it all. We're going to call it 50-50, but we'll keep it all. Okay.
Our contest master tonight is Tony Vitos. And I have to tell you that in time, Tony became a dear friend of mine. Not because she's an exceptional woman, very intelligent and very supportive all the time, but she saved my butt over especially here at Toastmasters. So without any further introduction, I would like to welcome our contest master tonight, Tony Gitters.
We have two contests this evening. The first one is the evaluation contest, and the second one is the humorous speech contest. So welcome to our 12th annual evaluation and humorous speech contest. The evaluation contest. The purposes of this contest are to encourage development of evaluation skills, to recognize the best as encouragement to all, and to provide an opportunity to learn by observing the more proficient evaluators who have benefited from their Toastmaster training. In the interest of time, we will conduct this contest using the same procedure as Toastmasters International uses in conducting the International Speech Contest. The judges, contestants, functionaries, and Sergeant-at-Arms have been fully briefed on the rules. The contestants have been, informed of the location of the timing lights. Raise your hand, Jorge. Timing lights are over there. They've been informed of the speaking area. Okay, you want to test the lights one more time?
Sure.
Green, yellow, red. Thank you. All right. There will be no photography during the contest, except I see a video camera there. Is that for you, Stephen? Okay, Stephen's going to record only his own.
Well, I'm recording it. If no one doesn't want something up, just say so.
It's no flash photography, I think.
It says no photography.
Okay.
All right, the other contestants, check with Stephen if you do not want to be posted on the website. However, you may want to see your speech for training purposes. The Sergeant-at-Arms are instructed to close the doors. We're going to ask you to just pay attention during this contest, although we've got you leading as a leader for the humorous speech, and just help out as needed, okay?
Thank you.
Please do not admit anyone while the speakers are giving their presentations. For all of you, I think we've already done this, please turn off your cell phones and pagers for the duration of the contest. Protests are limited to the judges and the contestants have been briefed about those rules. I assume the judges have as well. The decision of the judges is final. Announcement of the results is final. The contestants have drawn their speaking positions. You may want to follow along in your program. The order is 1, Charlie Bombalier, 2, Stephen Morgan, 3, Jonathan Dunn. This is a contest, so it will be run a little bit different from a regular meeting for those of you Toastmasters that have not been to a contest before. It's very formal. We're going to follow rules, and I will always tell you what's happening, when we can break, when we need you quiet. The contest begins with a test speaker. Following the test speech, the contestants for the evaluation contest will be escorted by Sarah, our Sergeant-at-Arms, to a preparation room where they will have 5 minutes to prepare their evaluations. At the end of the 5 minutes, the Sergeant-at-Arms will collect the notes from all of the contestants except for the first one. Gus, this is where you can help out. We're going to have our timer time the 5 minutes, and when the 5 minutes is up, you can go to Sarah and let her know it's time to bring the first contestant in.
Thank you.
The first contestant will then be escorted back to this room to give their evaluation. The other contestants stay outside the room. They will be given their notes back only when it is their turn to come into the room. There will be 1 minute of silence between contestants, and the purpose of that is for the judges to complete marking their ballots. During that time, you may quietly enter or leave the room, but please do not talk during this time. At the conclusion of the contest, the ballot counters will collect the judges' ballots. The timers will deliver their reports to the chief judge. Are the timers ready?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give our attention to the test speech. Andrew Feta.
Feta.
Feta. Andrew Feta, how the message is said. How the message is said. Andrew Feta.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters, guests. Speaking the humorous speech is kind of odd. I thought honestly I'd be going second, but I guess I'm the warm-up act. So I'll try to include jokes in my speech. My area governor, who's a member of my club, knows that mine are somewhat serious. So I'll do the best I can. How the message is said, particularly in email. I know many of you email. Thanks to Susan, she emailed me to be able to come to this contest. At least I heard about it on Saturday, so I had to prepare what I could. The problem with email, while being an effective means of communication, is how the message is stripped from it. What is it that I mean? When you hear me speak, when you heard me earlier make my opening remarks, got to see the facial expression that I made, got to hear my vocal tonality and knew that I was not completely serious. But in an email, that interpretation is left completely up to you. The ecocentrism of these emails were analyzed by two scientists from the University of Chicago, Justin Kruger and his colleague, Nicholas Elby. They tested 30 pairs of undergraduate students. Each student pair was given 20 different statements, both recorded on video and sent by email, the same statements. Some statements were sarcastic in answer. The sarcastic responses of what they were testing, when they used video recording, 78% of the time, the person evaluated was able to detect whether or not they were using sarcasm. When they only used email to evaluate it, 56% of the time, they were able to figure out what the true message was. That's about as good as chance. There have been times in which I have received emails in the 20 years that I've used emails, and I've seen emails grow from something that's been only used at colleges and universities to something that was available on TV for grandmama to use to something that is used as a part of my everyday life at work. And the problem with that is that I personally have received messages from people who are my superiors, from people who are my friends, and I'll see something from them and wonder, what do they mean by that? Why do they add 2 exclamation points? When a simple period was what they meant when I spoke to them afterwards. When I did speak to them afterwards, sometimes I would get upset and respond quickly. Case in point, actually, earlier today I had a friend of mine on Facebook. She's from Thailand. Her name is Twai. She said that she didn't necessarily understand the ice bucket challenge that people have been participating in lately, because she thought it was a waste of resources. She didn't understand why in some places when they need water, people would dump water on themselves and publicize it. Because this is harmful to plants and grass, and where she's from, she really didn't understand that. And I asked her, talking about it, well, what would be an effective way for that to be done? Rather than responding, reacting, I responded. I thought about what I wanted to say, making sure that the message was clear. I'm guilty of doing the opposite. But the point here is that someone in Thailand who lives halfway around the planet, 12 time zones away, when I sent my response, and she sent a response back, it's like, well, let's brainstorm about this. It took 5 seconds for that to happen. 5 seconds. You don't have to imagine I just gave you 5 seconds right there. The fact of the matter is that if you take the time to think about what you want to say, to allow a nonverbal communication medium such as Facebook or emails or texts to be communicated more effectively. Now, why is it that email gets vilified like this by me? Well, you have to imagine before the invention of email, when people would whip out their quills and their parchment, they'd say, "You, sir, are a curmudgeon. You're a mountebank, and I do not like what you have to say about the Whig Party." They had time to think about getting that message out, because then they had to fold the paper and maybe apply a little wax seal and put a stamp on it, and then think about whether they actually wanted the postman to get that message. Whereas nowadays, you hit send. And sometimes I look for the undo button. There's no undo button when you send a message. Chris Anderson in the TED Talk said one of the ways that you can be successful in email is to be brief. When you're brief in email, you're able to have your message conveyed. There's not much room for interpretation. Things are not unclear, and if they are unclear, please use a phone and communicate with them if they're available. Then your message will certainly get across, because you'll get both hooked and out. Thank you. One of the other things in which he said that is effective is if you are going to send a message out to a lot of people, and as VPE for my club, I do when it's time for me to email them. I take, instead of CCing everybody, I put them in blind carbon copy BCC, and I put myself as the only recipient. So that only email they see is mine and not everyone else. Because when you do allow people to carbon copy CC a bunch of other people's names, they're going to hit reply all, maybe. And then everybody's going to see that response. And it gets a bit redundant. So in conclusion, I ask you, when you get an email, and you're unsure of what the sender's intent was, see if there's another way to communicate with them. Step back and think about what you want to say. And make sure that your messages are clear and concise. Thank you.
At this time, the Sergeant of Arms is instructed to take the contestants to the preparation room. You can take your notes, your pens, whatever you need. I do want to remind all contestants in both contests, we are used to the room being about half full. There's no microphone or amplification system, so keep that in mind. Also, you do not have to stand behind the lectern. Get out of here. Timer, please start 5 minutes. At this time, please give me a green light at 3 minutes, an amber light at 4 minutes, and a red light at 5 minutes. At this point, we have 5 minutes to kill. If you'd like to quietly go to the food table, please do that. Otherwise, be prepared to participate in table topics. Ta-da! Surprise!
They're real good with the food. Oh, yeah.
Actually, I'm going to call on a Toastmaster, and I'm going to let you volunteer. We have a lot of guests in the room, and I appreciate you coming. You're welcome to respond as well. I'd like to hear from a Toastmaster. How long have you been a Toastmaster? And tell me 1 or 2 things that you have gained out of the program so far. Let me see some hands. Let me see some more hands. Thank you, Michelle.
Sometimes I'm a little nervous about telling people how long I've been in Toastmasters because it has been 12 years. That's usually what I get. Wow. And then I like to back it up with, but don't hold that against me if I'm up there speaking. Because we're all going to fumble. However, the reason I joined Toastmasters is, for those of you who know me, may not believe this, and for those of you who don't know me, maybe. I was really, really shy. Very shy. In fact, I'd be sitting in the corner, not looking at anybody, And here I am trying to start a business and meet people. Hello, not a good combination. I wanted to break out of that shell. Therefore, Toastmasters helped me immensely. What it helped me do was find my voice. I have an undiagnosed ADD, ADHD, ABCD. It's all undiagnosed, trust me. However, it's there, it's alive, and it's well. And I have a lot to say. But sometimes it doesn't come out as structured as I would like. And that's another place where Toastmasters has helped me. It's helped me organize my thoughts and hopefully strengthen my communication with my colleagues, my friends, and any business associates. So if this is a new journey for you, I'm really excited for you because Toastmasters has a lot to offer. If you're feeling like you're in the mid-range and you're not really sure if you can still grow, I would encourage you to keep going because there are opportunities waiting for you.
Perfect, thank you. Our next speaker today is someone who's been a member for only a few months. Let's hear from Renju and tell us how long you've been a member at our club and are you achieving any of your goals yet?
Thank you.
1 to 2 minutes. You can keep it brief.
All right. So I joined Toastmasters about 4 months ago, and I feel great. The only thing which I feel great is nowadays I'm noticing many things. The hour counter, I was an hour counter for one of the 2 meetings, and I found that there are a lot of times you say, you know, and so I'm just trying to understand what's happening in my regular professional meetings. When I go for a meeting, I look for it, this is not right, this is not the way I need to structure my speech, this is not the way I need to articulate it. So those are really helping me. It just started. I just gave my icebreaker speech. Second one is coming next week.
Yes,
So
excellent.
I'm very excited and I'm really learning a lot.
Thank you. Gee, I think I'm going to call on somebody who's chewing a sandwich. No, I'll let you volunteer. Another volunteer. If you've ever been in a contest, or if you've ever been afraid of public speaking, how are you doing today? Linda?
I have been in a contest before. As a matter of fact, from the beginning, when I joined, I immediately said I wanted to be in all the contests, and I didn't have any more trouble with nervousness than a normal speech. But the thing that I wanted to work on that I have trouble in both normal meetings and in contests is not using notes. And I initially volunteered for this contest, and then when an idea for a humor speech didn't come to me really fast and I realized I would have to not use notes or probably risk not being funny, I chickened out and I made a quick email and said, hopefully with everyone understanding who had to read the email, that I wanted to back out quickly.
Thank you,
But
Linda.
all in all,
I'm going to have to cut you off.
Sure.
Thank you. Our Sergeant at Arms, our 5 minutes is up. You can turn the red light off, Mr. Timer. Please bring the first contestant into the banquet room. Please give us 1 minute on the clock. We'll have 1 minute of silence. Please give me a red light at the end of 1 minute. You can drink wine now. There will be no more table time. Thank you, Mr. Timer. Please turn off the red light. Our first contestant, Charlie Bombalier. Charlie Bombalier, the first contestant.
Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and of course, Andrew Bett. There you are. How is the message said? Andrew, there's three things that immediately caught my focus throughout the whole speech. The first one was you captured the audience's attention because of the way that you structured your speech. It made an immediate impact and everyone focused on you. Number two that I noticed was how the message is said in a relevant topic. That topic makes sense with everyone because I don't think this whole room, no one knows about email at least. Everybody uses email. And number three, quite frankly, your attempt at humor made everyone at ease. And that's something that's very important when you're a speaker. Because once you put the audience at ease, they focus more on you. If I may suggest something for your next speech, you have a tendency to sway when you're telling us a story, and I was starting to get seasick. I held up. Even though I was in the Navy, I held up. The other one, you may not have noticed there was no microphone here. Sometimes I missed a couple of things you said because your voice was kind of monotone. It wasn't loud enough to really project out into the audience. And the third thing that I may suggest, which is really small, get away from the lectern. Because you know what you're talking about. You don't need to read those notes. You know what it is to send an email. Let me tell you the good things. First of all, you're dressed professionally. You have a very calming voice about you that people want to focus in on you. And that's so important nowadays. The other thing I liked about you, your easy manner of revealing what you want us to hear. You have a very smooth delivery. Quite frankly, I thought it was a very good speech on a subject that people get mad at me all the time because I never email anyone back. But sir, I'm looking forward to your next speech.
We'll have 1 minute of silence, and the timers, please give me 1 minute on the clock and turn on the red light when we get there. Thank you. The second contestant, Stephen Morgan. Stephen Morgan, the second contestant.
Andrew, I particularly would like to thank you for finally finding someone else willing to give a speech about email. As several of my club members might recall, I've gone off on it a few times. It's nice to find someone else who enjoys talking about it as much. Madam Contest Master, fellow Toastmasters and guests, but of course particularly Andrew, thank you for bringing us this speech this evening, and I found it very informative. You're very obviously qualified to explain all that you were telling tonight. I was particularly impressed with your preparation and the message you were trying to present to us this evening. As you put it a bit earlier, the gist of your point is what you described to me earlier that you were aiming to get out. And what I found most effective is that you got that point across. How important is the context within the messages that we give? A suggestion that I could give you for that opening. You want to grab attention with the opening, and at first you were doing a little bit of hemming and hawing. And I would have said, just simply start with, when you finally got to it, how the message is said. Start with that statement, and then into the very next point that you want to make. When you start grabbing with attention and making your impact, that's where you're going to grab all of our attention. Now, you had a good job with your body language in that your arm gestures were doing a very effective job, especially you do like bringing your hand up here and you were able to see a lot. But this did prevent us from seeing some of the gestures that were coming down below eye level. Therefore, when you have the opportunity in a room where you get to walk out, that would be your opportunity to come out and let us see the rest of the body language. Context makes the difference. Therefore, use the context as you can that you have available. That would be my suggestion on those. Because you were very evocative. I wanted to see it. I wanted to see the parts that were hidden. Although I will warn you, this, don't need to do that. Keep those arms out from behind, that's all I'd suggest there. When you were giving us, you were showing a lot of your passion. And that's what I found to be the most impressive part. Since you were showing a lot of a passion, and it was coming through in the voice in that various parts, you would make those pauses. And you would change the inflection and occasionally change the pace to separate what you were saying from what you were before. Those made those statements particularly stand out. And I noticed from that your passion was coming through with it. And all I can tell you there is just keep going with that, because the best speeches are the passionate ones. And you've obviously got that there, keep doing it. Just make it more. That's all I would ever tell you with that. And that is what is going to carry the speech to some great impact that you want to make for everyone. Especially since you want us all to say more with our messages. More with less. Or less is more. The less you say, the more we're going to get. Therefore, I don't want my evaluation to run too long. The more I say, it could be even worse. But I love the passion. Thank you for bringing this to me. And I'm hoping to get an email from you very soon.
We'll have 1 minute of silence. Timers, please reset your lights and clock. Mr. Sergeant of Arms is our final contestant available. Thank you. The third contestant, Jonathan Dunn. Jonathan Dunn, the third contestant.
Toastmasters, many most honored guests, and especially you, Andrew, thank you for sharing a very relevant message in this day and age on how the message is said. My intention this evening is to share with you some tips on structure, content, and delivery to take that special message that needs to be shared with the world and take it from very good to great. Let's examine the structure first. How the message is said, incredibly relevant, beneficial to the whole entire room. Except, Andrew, according to my calculations, your start should have been where you started about 2.5 minutes in versus thanking the room, which we appreciate your presence here this evening. The body of the speech, very relevant topics. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Sitting in front of your computer with an email and you're wondering what they said. All wonderful things that kept us in the story and things that we can take to our daily lives. You had a very amazing closing that I hope everyone in the room takes note of. When you get that email, you don't know what's being said, and you're feeling very emotional, and how people in the past had to take the time to pack up a letter and think about what was being said before they mailed it off. That is a lesson that can change the world, and we appreciate it. But I want to take that opening years. About 2.5 minutes in is really where you should have started. And I love to quote Emeril Lagasse, and to spice it up. That's the Hollywood scene. That's the flavor scene that lets everybody in this room know that we need to hear what you have to say. And there was a part where you talked about getting an email, and I just had this great idea for a start. It was a Monday morning. It was 9 a.m. And I really didn't want to be at work. And I got this email. Just think about that. Starting with the story, your content. It was wonderful. Everybody loves statistics. Once again, Ice Bucket Challenge creates great imagery. I just want to plead with you, though. You had really great content. To just take that content and come out from that podium. You're an awesome speaker, and you have what it takes to do that. Your delivery. Andrew, I loved your appearance. I love when people show up in a shirt and tie. As you can see, I'm in one tonight. You had great eye contact. You hit me over there. It was like you were a sprinkler head. You were dialed in on that part. Your vocal variety was very good. And once again, kind of midway through, as you found your bearings talking to this strange crowd, you were rocking it, brother. You were rocking it. One thing, though, and it's something I've been corrected on many times, we want to see your face. We want to focus in on your face. We want to totally dial in with what you're saying. And that name tag took away from that. Andrew, thank you for not undoing coming here tonight and sharing with each and every one of us a great message. Madam Contest Member.
Jonathan was our final contestant in the evaluation contest, so at this time, I request 2 minutes of silence. Could our timers please, let me see the red light when we have 2 minutes. This is so the judges can complete their ballots and pick a winner. wait till 2 minutes is up. Thank you. Whoop. You were right there. The judges are instructed to complete their ballots, sign them, and if there's an envelope, please put them inside the envelopes and hold them for collection by the ballot counters. The timers are instructed to deliver their report to the chief judge. Susan, do you want to take the ballot counters outside? At this time, I'd like to congratulate all of the contestants, and I ask for a round of applause. According to the program, it's time to meet the contestants. However, I'm going to postpone this part until after the humorous speech contest, since all three are in that contest as well. Nikki, raise your hand again. Nikki, just raise your hand. Don't get nervous. You are the 50-50 raffle lady. If it wasn't clear how that works, you give us money, we give you tickets. After the contest, we will draw a winner, and you will receive 50% of the money that we have received. The other 50% will go toward our club educational activities and possibly paying for the wine. I don't know what the officers decided. Okay.
You're generous. For the wine.
I'm thinking that instead of trophies, we're giving wine as prizes. Oh, no, the trophies are over here. We are going to be giving a first, second, and third place award for both of the contests. And you will not know the results of this contest till later. I would like one more round of applause and stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Give me a round of applause. The 10-minute break starts now. Timers, please give us 10 minutes. You can talk now. You guys are so good. You can talk.